People shooting up each other in the schools. Another murder, another story on the news. Another mother crying cause she had to lose a son over some bullshit, a pair of shoes. As a youngin' couldn't finish, I'm a fool. Mama told me I should be grateful, I never knew that people were classified just by their revenues. And children from Africa are dying from chemicals. Well, only heaven knows when the truth will be exposed. I ain't hanging with bitches, I'd rather crucifix these hoes. We all playing a role, we just don't know for what show. They got you sticking to the script, you know how the story goes. Niggas switching religions quick and worship that glory.
What up, everybody on YouTube? This is going to be a little bit of a different video. Very serious. There's no jokes. There's no comedy. There's nothing funny about what I'm about to talk about. Earlier today, we see the news that Pop Smoke was murdered in his own home. First off, just want to give my condolences to his family, his loved ones, anybody who looked up to him, anybody who he impacted their life. My condolences to y'all. And I just really feel that this is the time to address something that I think is a real problem with today's generation. I don't mean to come off as the old geezer or anything like that, but I just think this is something that really needs to be addressed. And I just really hope that any of you young people or people who are just really into social media, that you think about the decisions that you make and make educated and very thought out decisions that are impacted by logic and common sense. My understanding is that yesterday on Instagram, Pop Smoke had basically posted his address and was flexing, the things that he owns. That's my understanding. And then today he's found murdered in his home over in I believe in LA, somewhere in California. To be honest, for the lesson, it doesn't really matter, because people get killed all over the world, all over the states, all over the world, everywhere. Murder is just something that happens, unfortunately. And I just feel like this generation that we live in, a lot of people are just really into social media. And don't get me wrong, I understand, I get it. We're very social people. We, as a species, human beings, we enjoy the company of others. And we live in an era where we are more connected to the whole world than we've ever been. And there's not really anything wrong with that. That's not a bad thing. However, just like the invention of the car, just like the invention of firearms, anything of that nature, these things that are used to either enhance our lives or to protect us or whatever the case may be, these things can also be used against us. And it's very important that no matter what new technology comes out or what new conveniences there are, we have to keep in mind that common sense is never obsolete. Using your brain should always be the first thing that you do, whether you're on social media, whether you're holding a gun, or you're driving a car. Because just like somebody can get in a car and run over people, just like somebody can pull that trigger and kill someone, someone can use the information that you put out there on social media against you. They know where you live. they can come to your house and do whatever. Everybody out here is not out here to be your friend. That's just the cold reality of the world that we live in. There are people who just enjoy hurting other people to the point of murder. And that's just the way that it is. And this story is very reminiscent of what happened less than 2 years ago with XXXTentacion. He was also 20 years old. He also was on social media. Didn't post his address, but he kind of was showing where he was at. And he's driving around in a nice car, and what happens? Somebody pulls up in a bike and kills him. Takes whatever money he had on him and bounces. We're not bulletproof. We're not invincible. You know, and I'm sure a lot of y'all may be bad mama jammas. But the reality is this. The worst punch is the one you don't see coming. And if you're out there letting people know what you have and where you live, where you stay, I would suggest not even putting that you're at a certain place. You go out to the movies. Don't put that you're at the movies. People don't need to know everything you're doing and when you're doing it. You go out to some fancy restaurant, the food looks like a work of art, and you want to show it on social media, take the picture and post it later. You don't need people knowing exactly where you're at and what you're doing at all times. If you let people know that you're not home, there's a possibility you could come home and your house has been burglarized. There's a possibility that would happen. And you know what? You could actually consider yourself lucky at that point. Because at least you still have your life. But these young men who, you know, unfortunately didn't really think things through. And it just doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal at that point in time. There's just people who they're either psychotic, they just don't care about anybody else. They just do whatever they want for their own personal gain, even if it comes at the expense of someone else's life. Your life is not worth these material things. There's no reason for you to have to flex everything you got, and there's definitely no reason why you got to be showing where you live, where you stay, or that you're not home. I myself, I don't post on social media hardly ever. If anything, I go on social media just to get information, not to give information. And I mean, there's many other reasons not to. You know, I made a video about Broner not that long ago, and I was talking about how, you know, if you have potential employers, they look at your social media. You may not even get an interview just because of stuff that you posted on your social media. That in itself is a good enough reason not to do it. But what we have here are some extreme cases where people just being not very smart in that moment, giving away way too much information about where they're at, and then flexing what they have. And in XXXTentacion's case, I don't even think he was flexing. I think he was just, you know, addressing his fans. But the thing is, people know he got money. And they figured he probably has some. And they went and they took him out. If I'm not mistaken, he was 20 years old. If I'm not mistaken, Pop Smoke was 20 years old. Prime of their lives. They had so much more that they had to live for. And now, they're gone. XXXTentacion, or XXX, I'm not sure I'm saying enough X's, 3 X's, Tentacion. He's been gone for almost 2 years. April I don't know the exact date, but sometime in April of 2018 is when he was murdered. Less than 2 years later, February of 2020, we have another man around the same age who is gone for no good reason, for a stupid ass reason, because people want material things, material possessions, and that's sad when you think about it. These men's lives were worth way more than whatever was stolen from them when they lost their lives. So I just want to urge y'all, I understand social media is a great thing, but please use it wisely. These are guys who are supposedly street smart, but it doesn't do you any good to be street smart and be social media stupid. Not when it costs you your life. And I hope I don't come off as disrespecting these men, because that's not my intent. They had a moment where they made a very bad judgment call, and unfortunately they can't learn from it. They're gone. But I just want all of you to learn from their mistakes. Social media can be a tool to network. It can be a tool to keep in touch with people who, you know, have moved away or what have you. And that's perfectly fine. But everybody doesn't need to know what you're doing at all times and where you're at, where you live, and all that stuff. To all my subscribers, anybody watching my videos, or just so happen to stumble upon this video, please be safe. Make choices based on logic and common sense. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace.
That's why I'm undefeated.